guys? Hope you're having a good day so far. Well, we are back at it on the Nova, and this time we are going to be filling some holes with some hot metal. We're going to be hot glue gunning that back window channel back together and making it rust free again. So we've already done most of the work, but I'm going to you'll go in the back in time machine and you'll see all the work that we did with my mom and my wife, going through welding everything, getting all little pieces of sheet metal in. With some small explanations of everything we're doing. It's more, this is the how to do it if you're just trying to get your hot rod back together. It's not necessarily, may not be the right way to do it. If you're a body guy, you may wince. I don't know. This is how we think we should be doing it. So, like I said, we've already been done most of the work. So, you'll catch back in right now in about 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes or so. You'll see all the work that we did to get to this point, and then I'll round you guys back up on the end of the video and set you up for our last video, hopefully, because that box right there is all the paint and some of the short strand fiberglass and some other stuff we ordered. And hopefully it's going to get the car back together, hopefully next month. So, that being said, I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Having to weld around it, but that way it will be even with the body panel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
But this way she has something to weld to. So that's what I'm thinking. And I got
We'll
this
just
one.
do that for all those little goofy
Yep.
things on.
You know, smaller ones like that. If we can get to it, we can try to put a little piece in there. Like this, we can't really get to. You know, these.
Yeah.
And you know, these are the ones, especially being so close to the lead.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah. But you know, we can cut out a little piece. Maybe. But this is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
And that'll be the whole purpose of the material back behind there. Yep. Yep. And then here, you know, we'll be able to cut a piece, I think, and put on the top side.
Like cut this part out right here.
Yeah.
That little wave in it. And
yep. And then just put a piece right in.
and those screws should be coming any day. They should be. That's I ordered all those the other day. So they should all be hopefully coming pretty soon.
You know, and I don't expect there to never be, like, when she's trying to fill that. I mean, it just might. So and we'll fix it. You know, it's just part of it. So
Body work, yay.
So, you know, if we cut out more of these and fit them, I think that we should maybe like one and like write a one here.
you now saw everything we've done today. And I've spent the last about hour painting, and I may be a little contact high, I don't really know. I might have some paint on my head, I don't know. I have paint all over everything. And I've noticed we have a few little tiny pinholes that we missed. There's a guy right there you see daylight through. There's one over here that the paint might have sealed up, which I don't know if it's good or not. Nope, there's a hole right. It's so hard to tell. The way we'll have to see it when it's all matte like that. That's when we'll basically see everything. But so I painted all this stuff up, and this is just some rusty metal primer. This is it's to help for a better finish, and it's going to help try to eliminate some of the rust. We've also done a lot of wire brushing, sanding to get the thing down the bare metal or as close to bare metal, and get a lot of the rust out. And the paint's supposedly supposed to help try to eliminate some of that. I'm also painting the inside of that stuff because we're going to start sandwiching some of the metal in there. So we have these two straps right here. Those two guys are going to go up and in. If you didn't see that already, we're going to put them underneath behind those two window channels. And that's going to help seal everything up. And normally, there's a lot of different ways you can do this, and this might not be the correct way, but this is the way that we're going to be doing it. Those pieces are going to slide up behind here. We're going to tack weld them in. I've been pretty much cheerleader helper guy today because my wife and my mom were rocking and rolling getting all this stuff done. All of this was my wife welding, and it's a pill trying to weld stupid sheet metal. But we've gotten all the holes pretty much on the bottom done. There's a few in this back corner. There's one bigger hole right there that we need a little patch panel for. And we got a few little patch pieces on that side. And all we've been doing is cutting little strips of sheet metal and putting it in and kind of tack welding them in. It's nothing special. They do make this entire piece right here from pretty much this side over. But it's not worth doing just for little holes like this when you can weld them up. It's actually insane. I was trying to look just for repair parts, and AMD and a few other people, they make a roof, they make quarter panels, but no one makes just a window tray or any of the window tray pieces. They make A-pillars for the fronts of the cars. So if you need A-pillars, a roof, and quarters, that gets you everything you need, and then you have to get like you have to get all this stuff separately. But I just thought that was crazy. I'm like, you would think they would build some form of piece that you can just like weld in. Like you can cut from here to here, weld it all together. I guess the reason being is this is kind of a pinch weld right through here. And there's far smarter people than me that have figured that kind of stuff out. But yeah, so I've primered everything. We're gonna let it all dry tonight, and tomorrow we're going to try to work on it a little bit more, try to get some more stuff done on it, and see what we got. And in other news, the car will more than likely no longer have a bench seat, which this is a little illusion. There's going to be a big, huge bar, comes right through here, goes across, and there's going to be buckets. Yeah, so that's a little sneak preview of what has to happen. I just have to drive 18 hours to go get those. Yeah, so that'll be a road trip at some point in the next couple months that we'll have to go do. But I think we're coming along pretty good. And so I'll let you guys fast forward to tomorrow morning, and we'll see everything dry, see what all we missed on the trunk lid or trunk floor, and we will go from there. Alright, so you guys up until this point have been seeing a lot of time-lapse and B-roll video of us working on the Nova, getting it more closer to paint and body stuff. And today I've been doing a lot of grinding and sanding, but I want to give you a quick disclaimer before I show you what all we've been doing. I've been showing a lot of my Instagram stories, so if you've been seeing those, that's what I'm doing. That's today. I think today's Friday that we're working on the car. But I wanted to throw this out there just for anyone that's, if this is you know, how to do the back window in your car, this is not what this is. This is us doing the back window in my car. And this is my car that will never be sold unless, you know, I die or something like that and something weird happens. And, you know, basically lives depend on it. The car is not going anywhere. And so that means that basically I want to get the car together most correct that we possibly can, but also with the understanding that we're not painting the whole car. We're not going to go around trying to find where rust is. We're not going to media blast the whole car to repaint it. We're not doing any of that. This is literally, there's rust in the back window. We're going to fix that rust, and we're going to primer everything. We're going to try to blend paint as best we can. We're going to try to get some paint matching at Sherwin-Williams or somewhere like that to try to get a nice single stage to make it semi-close. And basically, there's not going to be rust in the back window anymore. There's going to be no holes. Window doesn't move around anymore. We're good. We can go racing. We can go have fun. We can go on, you know, Six Smokies. We can do fun things again. This is not, like I said, the $25,000 paint job, bodywork, $30,000 paint job, bodywork job at all. But if you're like us, you have a welder, you have tools, you have air tools, you have the ability, you have a little bit of knowledge, you can do stuff like this. So by no means is this correct, like I said, but I think we're getting pretty close, and it won't look bad, and I think it's going to be very serviceable, and even to the point of, I think I would be fully confident when we're done with this, if you wanted to paint the whole car, you could, and it would actually look pretty decent, and you wouldn't actually tell that we were in here. So the only way that you're going to tell, I think, at this point that we were in here is because there's going to be a nice line somewhere on the car somehow that we fade the paint into, and that's how you'll know. Otherwise, it'll be fine. But like I said before, this is the worst spot that we're going to have to deal with is this guy right here. This is where the lead of the B-pillar, roof, quarter panel all connect in is right here. And you can't weld in there. And like I said before, if the correct way to do this is either do actual lead fill or you sandblast, media blast all the lead out of the car and you re-weld it back together. Those are a couple ways you can do it. What we're going to be doing is we're going to get some short strand fiberglass or some sort of something rather, and we're going to kind of fill that in right there. There's a lot of metal in the back. We're not filling up any holes. It's just a spot, like a little cave right here is all this is, a little dent from where the lead's gone. The hole has already been sealed up on the backside. We have a piece of metal in here. We have little pieces of metal all throughout there. So, I mean, it's not a structural thing. It's just to make sure this line is all correct when we get it together. That's what we're going to do right there. And I've been working on trying to get everything cut down, all of our weld cut down here. You can see some of the spots where I've been doing touch welds from where we missed spots or where porosity kind of came through and the weld wasn't exactly correct. Which again, it's no fault to anyone welding it. It's just there's spots because it's the first go around. You're gonna find missing spots the second time around. So yeah, I'm going through grinding everything down. What I'm using are these little discs from Harbor Freight. I need to get more of them. They're working tremendously well. This is a $30 Harbor Freight die grinder. I've been using a little bit more expensive Harbor Freight sander. This is another die grinder, but to try to get the line in right here. Been going around with all that stuff. And I did have one guy message me, I believe it was Mark, messaged me on Instagram asking me about the little studs that are going to hold the trim on. And I'll show you guys that in a little bit. But what it basically is going to be is I'm grinding these all down because one, I need to get around them, but two, I have extras. So what it's going to end up being is they're going to be screws. So you'll basically drill a hole. And there's a company that I got them from. It's an OEM restoration company. And you basically just put screws in, and that's what holds the trim in once you get the back window sealed up and everything's ready to rock and roll pretty much. So that's kind of how I'm going to do that. But I think we're getting really close. You see a lot of dingleberries from all the slag and crap. But I think we're getting really close. There's no more holes in the car, which is very good. I basically just have to get done sanding. I need to get more of those discs. A little tip for you. I got 120 and 80 grit. I believe they sell 60 and 36. you totally could use a 36 to cut down everything and then roll into an 80 or 60 and then do a 120 to kind of do a final touch up. And honestly, if you got those, you can also get these guys too, and you can use these as kind of your last little run through, or this guy. These have been working actually really good to try to get it super smooth. You can't really see it because of the splash that I had, but right here I was using this guy, and it was giving a really nice finish on the end. So that was kind of one little thing that I'm doing or trying to mess with. And as I said previously, I'm sure we're doing something wrong. But this is going to be one of those things where it's like I'm being left unsupervised, and basically we're going through with what we think we know, and based off of knowledge that we have from doing things a long time ago, and then not having anyone but holding our hand going through this. So this is one of those things, just rock and roll and get through all this. So I'm going to finish up a little bit more of getting this stuff kind of sanded and die grinded and welded and cutting and grinding and moving and shaking and rocking and rolling. And I'll give you guys a little bit more of an update here in a little bit, but I'll give you a break from the time lapse. So I'll just kind of do a hard cut right now. Alright, so I'm out of all kinds of discs. I can keep using these, but I'll just burn them up and it won't really do much. But I need to get like 10 of these guys, and probably the 60 grit ones or the 36 even. But we've got really good progress right now. This side I think looks better than that side right now. That side we have to do a lot of in this little valley right here in the middle part. We have to do a lot of work in there. Most of it looks kind of like how this does right in here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it looks a lot like how this is in here, where it's pretty raised up versus the rest of it how it should be. But saying that, I think the rest of it's looking really good. We got, I think, I'll say probably 85-90% of the welding as far as the back window is done, unless we find little tiny things. And then we basically have to get some filler, which we have Bondo, but I don't know if I'm going to use Bondo. We might use some short strand fiberglassers. But a couple different people have offered different things and recommended different things, so we'll kind of go through and see what we want to use and kind of make our guess. But yeah, like I said, this side we got a little bit more work to do, kind of like in here, kind of through here, and kind of like I said, how it's raised up over here. That's kind of what I was talking about. There's one little spot right there. I'll probably weld up here in a second and get that filled up, and there's like a few little tiny holes like that right there. And that's what I was talking about. There's just little holes as you start grinding that are going to come out, and that's kind of the never-ending battle with this until you get it all gone and done through, which I might tack weld this guy right here. There's a slight little crack. There's a little spot right there. There's a bunch of little tiny spots, but we'll get all those handled. I'm going to get more discs over at Harbor Freight, and hopefully this weekend we should have the back window pretty much ready for spot putty, filler, paint, and putting the back window back in the car. So I mean, really, this is one of those deals where I think we've had 8 days total worth of work. I had probably 6 hours in it today, and then we've had 3 weekends, probably 2 weekends really working on it. I had probably 3 or 4 days working on getting everything disassembled, everything out of the car, ready to start cutting, grinding, welding, and all that stuff, cutting. And then today has been all grinding. But hopefully we'll have probably a few more hours of welding and kind of cleaning some stuff up. I need to get more of the sanding material. But I mean, after this weekend, we should be ready for paint and do the body work, finish work, and painting, and figuring out how we're gonna feather this out and try to get some of that kind of stuff done. These really irritate the crap out of me. The stupid gun went zoop. Now it mother Hubbard. But yeah, we're at the feather out that far anyway. I've already sanded out that far, so it didn't really matter. It's just annoying. But and then we'll have to decide how far out, what we're all gonna paint, which way we're gonna blend, and what kind of the best guess is. Part of me is like, do we just scuff the whole roof down and you shoot the whole roof? Do you just kind of do a tape line across and you kind of feather a line somewhere in this area? Do you, I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure that out. But don't be afraid of bodywork. If you have any kind of brain about you and, you know, are somewhat coherent with car stuff, you can get yourself in trouble and cut your car apart, and you can get through most of it as long as you're careful. You have a welder, you have a grinder, you have all this stuff. I've heard from 4 or 5 different people at this point who are all body guys or have done body work, and they go, it's just metal. If something happens, you can fix it. So it's one of those things. If you're working on, whether it's you're working on, you know, your hot rod race car thing, or you're working on a project truck or anything like that, you have options. So there's my little motivational thing. If you're trying to like, I don't know if I should, get yourself in trouble. It'll be fine. Alrighty, well, as you can see, we are back in the shop. Hope you guys enjoyed watching us kind of go through the montage of getting all the body work, all that metal filler, all that stuff done. So, like I was mentioning before, we've gotten pretty much all the body work done. All the welding's been pretty much done. You can see I need a little bit more grinding to do, but the channel is actually looking really good. And this, it may look like popcorn and stuff, but this channel is actually really smooth and it's clear. And that just shows you how much weld and how much filler we had to add in different places. And yeah, so I have a little bit of grinding left and a little bit more sanding, but it's actually really smooth and getting really better. And you can see the little spots like right in here. That was where there was a tiny little hole, and then you just start popping and it starts just blowing out, and then you have to just keep tacking and tacking and tacking and tacking until it's pretty much all back together. So we had to get our Harbor Freight sanders and just kind of rock along this line a little bit more, try to get that all smoothened out and get it ready so we can do a skim coat of fiberglass over everything, make it absolutely smooth, run some finer sandpaper over it all, and then get ready to shoot it with some paint. So this will be our next video, hopefully, if I don't do an update or anything else. But I went to Sherwin-Williams, we got some paint, some hardener, all this stuff for the paint, and then I got some short strand fiberglass as well, and that'll hopefully get us everything we need to get the car back together, as far as to the point where we can start putting the car back together. I have some fun things we're going to be adding to make the car that much better and that much safer, and it might work a little bit better because it may be a little lighter, maybe a little heavier, but it'll be safer and it'll look cool. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed us fixing all that stuff. Leave a comment down below on what we did wrong. Or if you have any questions on what we were doing, if you're like us and you're just trying to get your car back together and you have questions or concerns, let me know in the comments below. I may be able to help you. Like I said, the body paint, the stuff, and I'll cover it in the next video too, but the paint and everything I ordered from Sherwin-Williams, literally I walked in, I brought my deck lid with me, so the trunk lid came with us. They paint matched it, and with a single stage, and I was there. It was like less than $200 for all the stuff I bought, and it should be everything we need to get the paint sprayed on, aside from a gun, which I am also going to be trying that guy. Yeah, I'm not a paint and body guy, but those are like $30 and they spray pretty well. Again, not being a paint and body guy. We'll see how well I shoot, and hopefully I don't tiger stripe the thing. So, and you'll find that in the next video. Be sure to like and subscribe and watch me tiger stripe the Nova, and I'll see you guys later.